Welcome back. This is Power Breakfast on CNBC TV 18. The government has released the fiscal deficit data and the revenue receipts for the first 8 months of FY19. This is from April to November. The fiscal deficit has breached 114% of the budget estimate. The deficit generally gets bridged in the last few months of almost every financial year, but this year, with elections around the corner, and the government could be forced to open its purse strings even further, putting the 3.3% fiscal deficit target under threat. On the revenue side, it's not a rosy picture either. It has taken 8 months to hit just half of the full year tax revenue target. Growth in the non-tax revenue is slightly better, but the total receipts are below the 50% mark, and the centre now has to achieve the other 50% in just the next 4 months. Let's hear out what some economists make of this data.
If you look at the percentage of your fiscal deficit or revenue deficit, it always tends to be higher as we're going along the year. And by the end of the year, we suddenly realize that everything is okay. Because I look at the budget as being more of a kind of a statistical analysis. I mean, where you're actually putting the numbers together and you have the power to defer certain expenditures in case expenditures going out of hand. You could always get some PSUs to buy into another PSU and your disinvestment becomes all right. So I think there's different means which are there to make sure that that sacrosanct number of 3.3% is not breached. And that's why I think all governments normally turn out to come up with a fairly reasonable budget. But I think the way we should look at it is that has the government been prudent in terms of expenditure? The answer is yes. Has it been lucky in terms of revenue? Probably not yet, because the GST collections are still fairly volatile. I think for direct tax collections, we'll definitely see some kind of an upside in December as well as in March. So one should not be too upset about these numbers, because I think the end will be something like we will probably get that number of 3.3% by March.
I think there is a strong possibility that they will miss the fiscal deficit target for FY19. I think the whole fiscal consolidation in line with FRBM roadmap, it will be restored only after, the new government is in place. So I think they will have to give it a miss because, the recent reduction in GST rates also we have to factor in. And growth dynamics is not very encouraging. So, even the denominator expansion will not kind of help them achieve the ratio. Control it around 3.5%. Achievement of 3.3% looks difficult to me.
Okay, moving on then. On Wednesday, Prime Minister Narendra Modi met key officials from Finance Ministry, Agriculture Ministry and the government's policy think tank, Niti Aayog. Now, sources say that the talks focused on measures to provide relief to the farmers. Timsi Jaipuria joins us with more details on that. Timsi, tell us what were the key takeaways of that meeting?
Well, as the government is wanting to address the agri-distress situation, sources told CNBC TV 18 that post yesterday's meeting with Niti Aayog, PM actually wanted to have a detailed discussion, and Niti Aayog, Agriculture Ministry and Finance Ministry are likely to meet again in the next fortnight to discuss various options to roll out income schemes for farmers. Not just this, sources indicated that PM has asked Niti Aayog, Agri Ministry and Finance Ministry to explore ways to implement the idea floated by erstwhile Chief Economic Advisor Arvind Subramanian, that is to have a universal basic income for farmers which can be implemented in phases. To begin with, government is likely to extend the universal basic income to the poorest of the poor farmers so that the fiscal pinch is minimum. However, in the backdrop of this launch of such a scheme, Agri Ministry and Niti Aayog will again present a region-wise survey of the current state of agriculture distress to PMO. The region-wise surveys aim to help government to identify which farmers should be benefited first. In the meantime, Niti Aayog, Finance Ministry and Agriculture Ministry will hold interministerial consultations before meeting again in the PMO to fine-tune the idea. Let's see what is the final fate of this scheme. We'll keep you posted on it. Back to you.
Timsi, thanks a lot for that. Meanwhile, senior Congress leader P. Chidambaram took a dig at Prime Minister Narendra Modi over his remarks that the Congress loan waivers were only to win elections, asking whether the Prime Minister's Farmers Relief Plan was intended to lose polls. He tweeted, and I quote, "The Prime Minister says that the Congress government's loan waivers are only to win elections. So, shall we assume that the PM's Farmers Relief Plan is intended to lose elections?" P. Chidambaram claimed the plan of the BJP would imitate the previous Madhya Pradesh government's plan of paying the farmers the difference between the minimum support price and the market price. He also said that the earlier plan brought no relief to the indebted farmers.
Okay, on that note, let's slip into a short break. Up next, Jio ties up with Disney India for content partnership. We get you the details on the other side.